Hey everyone, we appreciate you for tuning in. These are going to be our quick form episodes. I hope you have a minute because that's all it's going to take. Welcome to Covenant. Well, I'm excited that we have another chance to record a podcast. Even if it's going to be a shorter one, I'm just excited. I love the opportunity that we get to do these podcasts. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, here's what I like about the short form podcast. Whenever I'm at work and I have like 20, 30 minutes left.
A lunch break.
Or, yeah, like a lunch break. I don't have time. I mean, I want to, I just don't have time to listen to an hour and a half long podcast.
Yeah.
And so we're getting right to the meat of the matter today.
Yes, sir.
Give you time.
Yes, sir. And
A short amount of time.
there you go. Exactly. A quick form podcast.
That's right.
Today, just to get straight to it, we're going to go into the topic and into the idea of that God can use you. It's not going to take some crazy, equipped, seasoned veteran or somebody who knows the Bible inside out, backwards, forwards, can preach it to everyone in any way that need be, but he can use you.
Yes, sir. Moses is taking a walk. He has isolated himself practically. He is shepherd in Midian, and for 40 years, the Lord lights a bush on fire. Moses sees it. He walks over to it. The bush isn't being consumed. The voice of the Lord booms out of this bush. The Lord reveals to Moses through this audible voice, Moses, I've called you. I want you to be the one who leads the Israelites out of their captivity in Egypt. Moses replies in one of the most perplexing ways. And I was, it's been 5-6 years ago when I read this, and it is almost so comical to me, and it was at the time. It leaped out of the page at me, and I've preached this all over the place at youth events and to young people. And this is what Moses says to the Lord after the Lord calls him and tells him, Moses, you're the guy. I want to use you. Exodus 4:10, Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. Moses replies back to the Lord and says, well, God, I can't speak. And he says this to a bush that is lit on fire and that is speaking to him.
Yeah.
Moses completely misses the artwork of God's call. Moses completely misses the fact that if God can light a bush on fire and can cause that fire to not consume the bush and then speak through the bush to Moses, surely God can use Moses to speak to the Israelites. But oftentimes our insecurities will blind us to what God can do. So what I would tell Moses, if I could go back and tap him on the shoulder, I'd be like, hey man, do you not realize that that plant is currently speaking to you?
Yeah.
And if God can use that plant to speak to you, then God can use you to speak to them. So that's the episode today. Whenever you feel like you are not enough, when you can't do it, when you're slow of speech, when you don't have it all together, when you are inadequate, I want you to think about the bush that was on fire. If God can use it, God can use Moses. God can use you.
Yeah. I've never even thought of it that way. Like the amount of times, you know this, you'll read something and you would have maybe read it 12 times already, and then the 12th time, there it goes. It jumps off the page. I've never even thought about it that way, and it's such I mean, it's really powerful, and it kind of makes me think of different times when, you know, you feel the Lord's asking you to do something, and the first thing you think of is that insecurity. You instantly think of all the things you've done wrong, and sometimes you forget what God can use, what God can do. That's a miracle right in front of him. God's talking, like you said, through a bush, and still he sees that, and he looks back at himself and goes, well, I mean, but I mean, I've got this problem. He can't use me. He's using something that can't even talk. It's itself, and it's talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you can't barely talk, but at least you have the actual ability naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing unnaturally is performing a miracle in front of your eyes, talking to you, and yet he still can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that the story that, you know, if you've been in Sunday school, you've heard it many times, but it points to this topic exactly, is when Jesus is traveling, he's preaching, he's teaching, and he looks up and he sees the great multitude, and he looks to Philip and he says, well, where are we going to get the bread that that they can eat? And he's trying to see what all they will say. And then one of his disciples, Andrew, who is Simon Peter's brother, said to him, and then you go to verse 9, there is a lad here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what are they among so many? And there's probably a reason that you see small fish there. You see great multitude. You see 5,000. And then whenever you look at what you have, it's just 5 barley loaves, and it's just the 2 small fish. So the adjectives are probably doing something there. And so once again, there you go. God's setting up the miracle. He's setting up something that he wants to do, and he's looking up and he's going, okay, let's, all the disciples are going, oh my, how are we going to be able to do this? God's right next to him. They've been with the guy. They know all that he's done. They've seen it themselves. Oh, I would love to see it myself. But still, they've seen all that, and they see another chance for a miracle, and the first thing they go is, oh, how are we going to do this? And they forget who's right next to them, and they just say, well, just the 5 barley loaves and the 2 small fish, but what are they among so many? And not only that, but who brings it to him? It's just the lad. It's just, as the story in Sunday school is told to me many times, and as I've seen it in VeggieTales, just the young boy. It's just someone who you would think in your natural fleshly mind, the most unqualified. It's just a kid who, he was just, that's all he had for lunch. That's just what his mom gave him. And can God really use that? Yes. God can use anything. And as we know, God tells him to let the people sit down, make them sit down, and the number was 5,000. And then God takes the loaves, and when he gives them out, distributes them, and then he asks for the disciples, to gather all that remains so nothing is lost. First off, just to ask me to get something that what's remaining, God, how is there going to be anything left? There's 5,000 people. We've only got 5 loaves and 2 small fish. How is there even going to be anything remaining? But as we all know, then they gather them up, and there's 12 baskets of those 5 barley loaves, and there's 12 finished of all that was eaten. There's 12 baskets. And so we see that there was a big problem. There was big something in front of them, the miracle that was waiting to happen. And they say, what are we going to be able to use? And here it comes, the lad, who has just a little bit of something. But all he has, he does end up giving to God. And he uses the 5 loaves and the 2 small fish and feeds a great multitude, a multitude of 5,000. And not only does he just use that and have it be enough, but he takes what the boy gave and what the boy had, and he made it a miracle, and he made it even more where there was leftovers.
That's right. God can use you.
Yes, sir.
You know what's funny to me? the devil always tries to poke and prod. The adversary always tries to dig at what is not enough. He always tries to prod and point out the areas of insignificance and of insufficiency. You know what you need to do? You need to look at the adversary, or you need to tell your own mind that sees the insecurity, oh yeah, you and I both know it's not enough.
Yeah.
You and I both know it can't amount to much in my hands. And that's why God can use it. That's why God wants to use it.
Yeah.
That's why we see David's defeating Goliaths. That's why we see enough food to maybe feed 12 turn into 12 baskets left over.
Yeah.
That's why we see insignificance turned into more than enough. I remind you, he's a God that does exceeding and abundantly
good.
above all that we could begin to ask or think. God can use you. If he can speak through a bush to Moses, he can speak through Moses to the Israelites. If he can take the faith of a lad and break it and multiply it, then he can use you.
Yeah. And we get so caught up in thinking of how perfect God is, all the greatness of God, all of his majesty, and we look to ourselves, we see all of our imperfection, and we think sometimes that's what he wants. He wants me to be perfect. He can't use me unless I've not made a mistake. But he doesn't want your perfection. He just wants your willingness. He wants you to just be faithful and give all that you have. He knows what you have already, but will you give it to him? And yes, God can use you. Pastor, you got anything else you want to add there?
Oh, no. It's short form.
Yeah.
We're already done. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. I hope it was a blessing to you. And I know it was a short form. We have longer podcasts for you to go and listen to. And we will see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining Covenant.